Hey everyone, here's today's update. Yesterday we talked about Ebenezer, and today we're talking about this other concept in the Bible. It's called endurance. The Bible word for it in the New Testament is hupameno. Hupa is like, we have that prefix in English, like a hypodermic needle, like it's under the skin. Hupa, under, and meno is like to hang out, to remain, one way is to abide under. There's a idea in the Bible that endurance in life is critical. It's super important. It's something that really opens up the door for God to use you and God to bless you. Endurance. Here's the downside of endurance. There's kind of only one way to get it. There's only one way to develop that quality. Maybe the classic of all classic passages that talks about endurance is in the book of James. Jesus' half-brother wrote this: "Consider all joy, brothers, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance." You know, it's kind of very much like physical endurance. Like there's people that are in endurance sports, endurance athletes. They run half marathons and marathons. Those people, we call them crazy people, but they do such things, and they develop over time. They develop physical endurance, sometimes to a great degree. And there's a life equivalent of that. This hupameno thing, this thing that says when we endure under various trials, or when we hang in there, and when they come into our life and we hang on to God in the midst of those and look for God's purposes while we're in those, this thing starts to develop in us that God calls endurance. In fact, over the years, being Joe Pastor guy, I've noticed that one of the main characteristics that separate people that say are still hanging out with Jesus and still, flourishing and growing in their faith after 10, 20 or more years than those for whom it was like a phase, or who somehow have lost the edge in their spiritual life, is this one thing: endurance. Let me repeat the verse. Is that okay? Well, what are you going to do? You're there and I'm here. "Consider it all joy, brothers, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith, the trying of your faith produces endurance." And then he says, "And let endurance have its perfect result, that you may be perfect and complete and lacking in nothing." In other words, your character is going to grow and flourish and mature. The key, this is kind of simple, but it has obvious application to what we're in now. The key to spiritual maturity is to hang around and stay connected, stay relationally and intentionally connected to Jesus long enough to let these qualities grow and develop. That takes a little bit of endurance. And guess what? That's what we need right now. Like when things are frustrating and we're in this situation and we don't know how long it's going to go. And maybe if we knew when this would happen and that would happen, we'd be fine, but we don't. You know what we need? We need this thing called endurance. There's a lot of stuff happening in your life right now, and a lot of stuff happening in my life right now. One thing that we have in common, you and me and you and everybody who's checking this out right now, is God is doing something in us to develop this quality of endurance. So I say, let's let him do it. Let's just together decide we're going to let God develop endurance in us. Let's hang on to him. Let's stay positive. Let's keep Jesus in front of us and hold on to him. Endurance.